Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. As always, I am your host, Fearless Floyd, and today I have on Jeff Rahm and any other special guests that Jeff might have at his fingertips. We're going to bring them on. And with that, I'll be right back with Jeff Rahm. And we are back, and I will bring Jeff Rahm on right now with his special guest. All right, Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hi, Floyd. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. So, did you bring anybody with you?
Yeah, we've got Merlin, the magician, with us on the phone. He's on standby, and
right.
Merlin's depends on how long you want your show to go. But Merlin, you're live on the Fearless Floyd Show.
Oh, great! Hi, guys, again.
Super. Hey, any news? Any news on the Reno/RV front? I heard again today that Reno was live and going crazy and this and that. Any truth to that?
No, of course not.
Okay, I thought not. I just thought, as long as we're on the phone, we'd ask because they keep pumping that hopium. Okay.
Yeah, well, as you know, Jeff, our IUC, our church, we have signatories. You're one, and there's 55 other of us, that are amazing people. Like, Steve, who was Trump's architect for 10 years, and it goes on and on. With the excellent people that we've got. One of whom is accountant for 20 years. Is the auditor of the Reno Redemption Center. This auditor lives in Florida. When the RV is going to happen, 2 or 3 days beforehand, the auditor has to get in a private jet and go to Reno, and he'll take our IUC signatory Ty with him. Then we know. Plus, there needs to be some kind of cathartic event, major world-shattering black swan, whatever you want to call it, event that we'll all know. And the military seems to be intent on waiting for some kind of event like that to put more fear into people. And I've chewed their ass about that, which I can do. The very top of the queue, I've chewed them about that. Why create more lotion? Feed the bugs and eaters. The Archon on bugs. But anyway, we'll see what happens if they actually fire. Then as far as the QFS is concerned, the QFS, the quantum computers, the first one in Vancouver, BC, it's called the D-Wave computer, was just a normal computer that they super cooled the core. And if you studied anything about what happens at absolute zero or near it, things go to 2D. Metals pass through one another and things like that. Really amazing stuff that happens because it's 2D. So it is that computer with the super cool core that the programmers had to take a meditation course before they could go into the room with the computer because it reads your mind.
Wow.
It really, really does read your mind. And thus, when people go to redemption centers, we've already been told that they will have the ability to read your heart. And actually, it's read your mind to know if you can, first of all, do the project that you're talking about, and secondly, that you intend on doing it. And the quantum computer is going to answer those questions. And the quantum computers are made much easier now than with the super cool core. The way it's done now is with a graphene laser interface. The graphene provides access to the gap, which everything comes from the gap every microsecond. And so once you have access to the gap, those quantum computers can interrogate a lot in 2 parallel realms, away from us. and determine the past, present, and future of that rock. They know everything. They have access to all information in the multiverse, as do humans. We all have it. It's all in us. Our DNA contains the entire multiverse, past, present, and future.
So are you saying people will go to their appointments in Reno and they'll be able to read them?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to like see if they're good people, bad people, be able to read their thoughts?
All of the redemption centers are supposed to have a quantum computer.
Well, that could be kind of embarrassing. I mean, what if you see a real pretty girl go by? I mean, you really want them thinking of That's kind of weird. All right, if you say so, they can read our thoughts in Reno and at the redemption centers. That's a little spooky, but okay, go on.
Well, have you seen it? How many times have you seen it written that they will be able to read our hearts, at the redemption center regarding our project? How many times have you seen that?
Yeah, I knew they were going to like give you a thumbs up or down on like being a good person or not, but I didn't know they had such detail.
Yeah, they can know everything about you, past, present, and future. Anybody can do that. Not just the quantum computers. Anybody can do that if they could. That's why I call all humans idiots, because we have the entire multiverse in our DNA. We have access to it all. We know it all. We choose not to know it all. We choose to be idiots and do these dances out in front of each other and point nuclear weapons at each other and all that kind of shit. Like idiots.
All right. Floyd, did you have a question, or we want to maybe venture into another subject area?
The technology for the computer in the redemption centers, would that be fMRI technology?
That's what I told you. It's graphene laser interfaces.
Okay, well, that's a new term for me, and I really don't quite comprehend the depth of that term and the definitions that apply to it. Can you break that down for people? Because if I don't know it, believe me, if I don't know it, my audience doesn't know it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the laser, lasers just do healing. Okay, on low reactive level laser therapy. It's been around for a very long time. And you just point a laser at an area on the body. It's like Star Trek, and it heals up. Right? So, why is that? And idiots would say that it's due to the vibrations of the laser. That's BS, because the laser waveform does not modulate. It stays the same, doesn't it? That's how laser, can go for such long distances. Okay, so the way that the information that the laser provides the information is from the gaps in between the light rays of the laser. That's the gaps have all information. Absolutely everything starts as a seed in darkness or an idea. Everything. Period. Not just some things. Everything starts as an idea in darkness. And that happens every microsecond. There's a blink rate to the entirety of creation. And when you get involved in that blink rate, which is what Bubble Tech does, that we're able to install intentions at the seed level of creation, then we change creation. And we've done that. We've changed the entire multiverse. Verifiable fact. Okay? Do it.
So
anyway,
when you describe the gaps in between the light rays, are we talking about the qubits in the quantum computing system?
A real quantum computer does not need qubits. That's that they've dreamed up. Okay, because everybody thinks about computers as having bits. the quantum computers have access to the gap, like I'm telling you. They don't need the qubits.
Okay.
Totally unnecessary. They interrogate the gap directly. And in interrogating the gap directly, what do you find? The past, present, and future of everything is there. All right. So, in what format does that information exist? Answer: same way that you saw to begin with, video format. Therefore, all of those videos have to dovetail together perfectly in order for there to be a coherent now, which means that the now is completely predetermined. Completely predetermined. There's no wiggle room on that. And I've got lots and lots of proof of that. But I'll give you one. It's pretty simple. You can look it up. Max Planck Institute found that the human body is a continuous state of precognition, knowing 7 seconds before what the mind's going to decide. So you put that Max Planck Institute 7 seconds before what the body knows 7 seconds before what the mind's going to decide. Put that in Google, you'll find it. Should do. All right. So if the body knows what the mind's going to decide before it decides, then it had to be predetermined. Period.
Okay.
Mind didn't know it, but the body did. Okay, where'd the information come from? And the answer is from the movie. And it's the movie that we make, right? That we, us humans, make. And I can show you exactly how that works. You know, because it's just images, right? And so where do the images get stored? Well, the images start in darkness, but there's no structure there. There's no storage mechanism there, right? So how do you store all of this information, this movie that has come out of there? The answer is on the ethers. And the ethers are a hall of mirrors, a 2D hall of mirrors. 2D controls the 3D entirely. And we're talking about every thought in your head, every voice inflection, every nuance of meaning, every sleep part, everything. The images structure and control the flight of the photons. Everything's made from light. And if all of those photons are controlled, then all of the things are controlled. That's not difficult. And so it is that all the videos dovetail together perfectly in order to have a coherent now. And because they do, we are in predetermination and have been for, since the beginning of this multiverse. It's just how it has to be that way. If you see something in 3D with hard edges, I have the physics of this, exact, and then it is exact. It's not a theory, it's exact. Because there's only one rule to follow. It's all consciousness. Matter does not exist. It's all consciousness. So if it's all consciousness, what organizes consciousness? We do. Guess who? We do. But it's we as our pure consciousness. And it's really easy to know your pure consciousness or your observer self. Really, really easy. All you have to do is notice that you're thinking. Okay, well, who noticed? Answer: the part of you that does not think nor emote. So that's our pure consciousness who rides our ass like a donkey to all death events, the DMT rush. And it's a little bit sick, really, because out of an infinity of possibilities, we have invented this show, what we have going on here, this dumb show, and for what purpose? It's like suffering. Where did suffering come from? Who invented it and why?
Us.
We have suffering. Okay? All right. Well, the ethers are made out of 2 parts love and 1 part time. The ethers are made out of lines, but they're not really lines. Everything spins. They're like tubules. Nothing goes to zero. There's always a gap. So in the lines, there's a gap. There is always a gap. You can't get away from the gap. That's herself, God herself. You don't get away from her. Right? So in the gap, we have everything as we discussed. And herself, when I am that I am, that created two little half circles, which she loved very much because it beat what had been going on before. She is very, very lonely in darkness, and that's called Lobosh. Loneliness leads to the fear of loneliness, and that's the first horn of duality. The next horn of duality, these horns go right up your tuchus. The next horn of duality is love. And where did it come from? From herself. When she went, I am trying to ask who was she, trying to identify her consciousness. The only answer, because there's nobody else there, is I am that I am. And so that created two little half circles, which she loved very much because it beat what had been going on. And so those two little half circles, because they're made out of love and love is self-attracting, fold themselves into a circle. So there you have the first etheric realm made out of circles. And then those circles, because the lines made out of love, attracted themselves and pulled themselves into squares. That's not difficult. It's easy to understand. And it's the one rule, I am that I am, like attracts like, mirroring, and that's why, these things I'm telling you are exact, not a theory, exact, because there's only one rule. All right, so then what happened then? We have the ethers are made out of love, and then she did that for a long time, and after a long time, she became aware of the passing of time. And that went out as a straight line into one of these circular ethers, and it had to circle back on itself. And so it did, and so it spun up, creating the Anu, the God particle. It's really easy to follow. Logic is ironclad, deadly simple. And the Anu, A-N-U, is the first name of God, the Babylonian text, Sumerian text, and the Vedas. The Vedas talk about a lot. The Parma Anu and various other words they have around the Anu. And then they have the Shiva Lingam, which is the Anu. It's a ovoid, that has the two male forms of God, Shiva and Vishnu in them. The Anu does have that. The Vishnu could also be called Jesus. Vishnu is the preserver of form, right-handed sin, and centripetal. Perfectly described in the Hindu for thousands of years. And then Shiva is the destroyer of form and ego, left-handed spin, and centrifugal. That's exactly what's there, and that's exactly what it does, as Victor Schauberger proved beyond any shadow of a doubt. That's how it works. All right, so then in that field, you have the ethers. You have the ethers themselves made out of love. You have the Anu made out of time. One line is time and the other is love. So you got two parts love and one part time that makes the ethers. Suffering is not possible to be conceived in the etheric realm. Suffering did not come here where we're at. It's here now, though, okay? But we didn't invent it, okay? It was invented in darkness by our pure consciousnesses. Okay, well then why? Why? Geez, things are so nice here. Why all of a sudden, and loving and all that, why all of a sudden do you feel like you need suffering? Complete idiots. Reason? Separation. So that our pure consciousnesses, when our human body is suffering, and I can show you a photograph of our pure consciousnesses. We're like our human bodies are an avatar of our pure consciousnesses, which live in 2D in the gaps in us. You can take a picture of it. The holographic projection or holographic transparency has on it the shadow self, our pure consciousness. You could actually see a picture of it. And, and so that's the asswipe that rides us like a donkey for entertainment purposes for all death events. Humans are entertaining because our pure consciousnesses get cut off from all knowing, which is painfully boring. And so they want that. That's why suffering was designed, in order to be separate from all knowing. We all are all knowing, every one of us. Except that the other thing we invented, which is diabolical, is a spoken word. The spoken word cuts us off from all knowing. The reason, for example, spoken words indexed in lineal time. You have to have lineal time in order to have words at all. Right? So, lineal time cuts us off from all time and the gap. And we think it's real. So I'll get into another favorite subject that you wanted me to talk about the dinosaurs being a hoax. All right, so the spoken word, well, first of all, our DNA has the entire multiverse in it. And so in our DNA, we have access to all knowledge. But also in our DNA is the syntax of our mother tongue, which cuts us off from all knowledge. So that's really diabolical. The next diabolical aspect of it is thinking. When we are thinking, our synaptic gaps are firing in our brain. The synaptic gaps are analog amplifiers. And that's real obvious. It's just a capacitor. The synaptic gap is a capacitor, and the information crosses the capacitance gap. As it does so, any information that's in the gap gets amplified. That's how an analog amplifier works. You got a grid, you got a capacitor, TV, and radio and all of the vacuum tubes that they use. You have two capacitance plates, and you have a grid in between. And the grid in between is where the information from radio waves or TV waves is amplified. So our brain does the same thing. Right? And so the thing about our brain doing that is that it's made out of carbonaceous material. The root of violence in the whole multiverse, is the carbon-oxygen antagonism. That's violence. It goes on in our brain. It goes on in our body. It's why we decay. Okay? All right? So, when you're thinking, what's happening, it's a capacitance field that expands like bubble tech does. It's a bubble. It's a capacitance field. It expands. What happens is that you are broadcasting violence. The more that you think, the more that you broadcast violence. That's not difficult, right? And so, this is an invention of ours, and it is diabolical. Whereas by telepathy, we have complete sharing of information without mystery. Complete sharing of information. So why hasn't the 200 Jesus figures we've had, well, you can look up 16 crucified saviors, in Wikipedia. Why has none of them ever implored humans to adopt telepathy? None, zero. Why not? And the answer is, they're part of their bleeding movie. It's just hopium. It was never intended to work. If it was intended to work, then they would have implored us to become telepathic. And had they done so, and everybody over generations continued to work on being telepathic, it happened. Every cell on our body is telepathic. There's no reason for us not to be telepathic. It's harder to understand why we're not. Than why we, why we are, anyway, we're not telepathic, so we're idiots. Talking to one another, idiots. And none of our religions, zero, have ever implored us to adopt telepathy, which by telepathy, there's no lies, no crime, no politics, and no wars, no dead idiots. But we love dead idiots because of DMT rushes, you know? So we kill one another off. It's like I told you before. You know, the soldier's body has infinite awareness. It knows 7 seconds before, for a fact, that the hand grenade's coming in the foxhole. And it stays there to be blown up. Excuse me, who's the bleeding idiot? The body or the movie that created the situation? Okay? And the people behind the movie that created it, there's the source of the idiots right there. You know, because this shit show, what we have here, is the best we've come up with. Oh, you're going to love this one. For us to shrink the kids. There's genetic evidence for 23 different species of humans that have populated this planet, mostly giants. And over billions of years, we have been shrinking the kids. How do we do that? With violence. The violence shrinks our aura, our anu, which shrinks the idiot inside. Right? And that's the design. The purpose of the design is real obvious. Everything else grows. According to the rule, I am, like, and attract like, everything else grows. The planet grows. It accretes space dust. Everything, the sun grows. Everything grows except human. We get smaller, dumber, weaker, and more numerous. Okay, well, why more numerous? Seems to be the object of the exercise. And it is. Why more numerous? Because herself, lonely old female, the old bitch I call her sometimes, wants company. So we have to make more humans. Us, we've signed on to that. We've signed on to doing that, to killing one another and being violent to one another so as to shrink the kids so we can have more company for herself, for our God, you know, who is in dire need of a new form of entertainment. You know? And so anyway, it's changing. The change of all ages is upon us. You know, the RVP is just the start of the change of all ages, which will change the consciousness of mankind. We will become telepathic. We will be euphoric. We will be totally different inside of 10 years.
There you go.
Maybe less.
There you go.
Very short period of time.
No money, too.
Yeah, money. Yeah, isn't that, you know, ironic and chagrin, you know, that after years and years of having no money, then all of a sudden we get trillions, you know, just case trillions, my case also. Trillions upon trillions, which we'll use, you know. But in 2 or 3 years, it's obsolete, worthless. Nobody needs it because of the replicators. The replicators eliminate commerce, agriculture, and money. The replicators exist. I know exactly how they work. They work with the gap, don't they?
Well, you know, my plan is to be rich.
Excuse me?
I was teasing Floyd. I said, you know my plan to be rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay, let's dive right in there to the replicators, because I know as soon as everybody hears replicator, they're like, okay, what is that? Is that like a med bed, or is it different from a med bed? When is it going to be available? How's it going to be available? Who's it going to be available to first? Where? You know all the questions, so let's go ahead and address that so I don't get bombarded and tell them a whole bunch of I don't knows. We'll have to ask Merlin again.
Yeah. Okay, well, the replicators exist, Star Trek replicators, like the hole in the wall. And the way that they work is with the xenon bulbs. Xenon is the brightest white light known to man. So you have, you know, the most possible photons coming from any substance comes from ionized xenon.
Oh,
physical realm. And those 3 banks of 7 have a grid in them, like an analog amplifier, into which the information of whatever it is that you want is sits in there. Okay, you literally read your mind too. The replicators read your mind. You have to visualize what you want, and it'll give it to you. Right. So the 7 image only realms makes one physical realm. The way that you know that is that the emotions of love and fear are carried by spin, like everything does spin, and it spins through the 7 image only realms, connects them up, and then circles up into the hexagonal, into our hexagon where we are, and the hexagonal reality is printed on the hexagonal realm.
Whoop. Just lost Jeff. He was trying to kill his camera and he killed his feed. So he'll be right back with Merlin. Stay tuned. What do you do with that? What a statement from Merlin, huh? Or statements. Let me get Jeff back over here.
Oh, okay, sorry. I didn't know you were pointing at the bottom of the screen. I clicked on it and it all went away.
Yes. If you want to take your camera off, just hit stop cam, but you can't go off stage because it mutes your mic. You can kill your camera, but not your mic.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Sorry, Merlin. Hey,
Yeah,
just
no
for
problem.
our audience, Merlin's a physicist. He's all about quantum physics and string theory and everything else that's over my head. And he's well connected all around the world. He's super well educated. He's studied the cosmos and God and the body and medbeds, and he has hundreds of white papers on academia.com, probably leading academia.com in anybody's publishing, and published in many other places. Anyhow, Merlin, sorry, go ahead back to the medbed. I just wanted our audience to take a quick break and let you know that, hey, this, you might be a little overwhelmed and your eyes are watering with the amount of information coming out of this guy, but listen hard, play it back, and take notes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Merlin.
Yeah, it's all in writing on academia, exactly how the universe is constructed. One of my essays says, and it's exact. It's not difficult, because there's only one rule to follow. So yeah. So anyway, so back to the replicators and how they work. You got the 7 bulbs that are filled with xenon that have a grid in them, and the information that you want to have made manifest is added to the grid, and that's done by a Fogel transistor, which is the same way the quantum computers work. Fogel transistor is just a transistor with a capacitance plate alongside of it. And so in between the transistor and the capacitance plate, you have a gap. And in the gap is all knowledge. And so the Fogel transistor can read your mind. And it does.
Cool.
Yeah. And, all this stuff, I'm telling you now, in the future, in the not too distant future, will be well known. Everybody will know it. Because you have to. You have to know how our playground works in order to have fun in it. And so that's the whole object of the exercise, really, is having fun.
Nice.
Got my attention.
Well,
I'd love to have fun.
We have to entertain. We have to entertain ourselves. We have to entertain ourselves. That we don't ever lose our job.
Absolutely. So when Can you give us kind of a timeline what this looks like? Because obviously the November 5th election is just a couple short months away.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know when the RV is going to be, but I can tell you that the information about all the advanced technologies comes out immediately, as NASAR requires. You know, and NASAR is an enacted law, and when it's enforced, all the precepts of NASAR have to be enforced the same day, same hour. And so the EBS will inform everybody about replicators. And they will be distributed by the military, and apparently the aliens are going to help also with that, distributing it, because human suffering must stop. And there's a big reason why human suffering must stop, because we can collapse the multiverse again, which we've.
Did we lose him?
Yeah,
Oh,
we're here. Collapse the multiverse again. Another mass extinction event is what he's talking about.
No, more than that. Collapse, the mass extinction event on this planet. Yeah, we've had innumerable of those, but we've collapsed this multiverse. The whole multiverse is a product of trial and error, and I can prove that to you. But it's a long talk. You know, that it has to do with the Archon. Yeah. But you know, there is no divinity. That's a bunch of crap. You know what fine divine being would have humans killing themselves off continuously? You know, whose idea was that? Like an idiot's. But that's what we do. That's what we do to entertain ourselves and to shrink the kids, which is such a huge deal that we continually do it. We've done it for, it's hard to know how long. You know, it's just like the mass extinction events. You know, it's happened so many times in this solar system that it's unknowable. Okay, as to how many times we repeated the same shit show. The exact same shit show. 4.5 million year shit show. The Hindu have known for thousands of years, thousands upon thousands of years, about the mass extinction event. The end of the Hindu yugas results in a mass extinction event every time. Okay? Except this time. This is the only time that we've skipped the mass extinction event, which was supposed to have been December 21st, 2012. And what that was supposed to be that time was a solar flare, was to hit the planet, which was a crispy critter part of it. You know, and the other part would have died as a result. You know, because nothing would work. No electricity. No, you know, you, like for example, you do an EMP over the United States, and in about 3 to 6 months, 85 to 90% of everybody will be dead because no electricity, and especially in the United States, because some of the big transformers that we have can't be replicated. There's no spares for them. You know, and so getting the system back up would take a very long time, especially when you got no electricity to make the transformers. You know, you need transformers to make electricity, and you need electricity to make transformers. Kind of a catch-22. Anyway, that's what it is. You know, that's well known, that's well studied. You know, and that's something that the Cabal could have done to us, but they didn't. You know, that's the other thing. You know, knowing how powerful a Cabal is, how is it we're still alive? You know, how have we managed to stay alive? The answer is the movie. The movie controls every thought in their head as it does, and it's really easy to see that. You can track back to Bill Clinton making the internet free for all. That wasn't his idea. Okay, somebody put him up to it, and it was us, because the internet is how we have right now shared all this information, and we know that the Cabal. That's the other thing. we got a cabal here, a satanic cabal that has killed people, drank their blood, all that kind of stuff for unknowable lengths of time, and we didn't know about it. And they always wound up being able to perpetrate a mass extinction event, and we go along with it, just like the soldier, the body, he goes along with it, no problem. Let's have another mass extinction event, all right? So, and the thing about that is that since we're the God of creation, and we choose to go along with the mass extinction event, then guess what? You're going to die, idiot, again.
Hell, the bad guys are working for the bugs. They don't even know it.
That's right. Exactly. I've told you that a few times. The Archon bugs, we invented. You know, I've got exactly where the Archon bugs. It's all like it tracks light. You know, when the first Anu formed in this part of this multiverse where we're at here, where Earth is primarily this solar system. When the first Anu formed, normally, you know, being female, she would coddle it and love it, you know, and all that kind of stuff. Instead, here, we put her up to this. When the first Anu formed, she asked, "What is it?" Well, that immediately creates Pandora's box, you know, and all forms of other judgment. And so the Archon, the lines that make them are made out of time and judgment, so they don't grow. Right, and so that's why they're little bitty things, you know. But they're the ultimate evil in the entire multiverse. There's nothing more evil than the Archon, you know, and you know that's where all evil comes from, is the Archon, because we put herself up to it, to going, I am that I am, you know. And then looking at the little thing, the little Anu, and asking, "What is it?" Now, that "what is it?" question is a big deal. You know, the mana is a question in Hebrew, meaning "what is it?" which is what the Egyptians called the mana, which is the white powder gold that I told you about earlier, that is present in all living things, and it's 2D. And it's superconducting, and I'm kind of an expert on that stuff, because I've got a mine full of it in Nevada. But anyway, like all kinds of mind-boggling stuff. I get tongue-tied because there's more stuff than I can share with you. I need to do it telepathically, and we can get a good download.
That'd be cool.
Are the do you know anything about the Vril?
No, not much. I mean, the German thing, you know, that was involved with Hitler. No, not much.
Okay. Huh.
So if they're evil, they come. If they're evil, they come from the Archon base, and the Archon, the way that they work, you know, little buggers, is that they get together and make images, and they impart those images primarily to single men. You know, and so single men get images of Satan or fearful images. And so single men wind up creating wars and all this kind of stuff, what we like to do to ourselves. Fucking idiots. Anyway, so the Jesuits control the Vatican. The Jesuits, the way that they came in control of the Vatican was because the Archon can see the future, or they used to be able to. And because the Archon can see the future, then, you know, it's a big deal, you know, in the Vatican amongst the Catholics, that, you know, people can predict the future. You become canonized if you're able to accurately predict the future and do healings. Okay, well, so the Jesuits were able to accurately predict the future because they got the information from the Archon, right? So they wound up controlling the Vatican and everything that goes on, with the Vatican, which is heinous, as we know. Yeah. And so the Vatican wound up controlling all the royals and all the government. And so we wind up with, another, the governments, particularly the UK government, what they do is they make sure that we produce more load. And so they make things difficult.
Fear.
All the time.
Fear. Loesch is fear,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, right, correct. And so that stems from the Jesuits, who think that they're working for Satan. They do not know that they're working for the bugs. If everybody knew that the Cabal was working for the bugs, and particularly the Cabal, then everybody would go, hey, well, that's our problem, isn't it? Yeah. It's not actually the Cabal, it is the bugs that are causing this problem. Correct. Right? Then all of a sudden everybody gets together and says, no problem, euphoria runs off the bugs. That's the thing about capacitance fields. This euphoria comes out of there. And there's no bugs. Around the bubble field, there's no bugs. There's no flies, there's no mosquitoes, there's no ants. All that stuff leaves. And our one guy who has a little horse ranch near Fort Lauderdale, subtropical. There's no flies, there's no cockroaches, no rats, no mice. Anything that lives in fear cannot be in a bubble field because the bubble field forces out the fear and the love, both forces them both out. But the fear, as it's leaving, it makes them feel like they're in a microwave. They have to leave. We did this recently, in the last 6 months or so. The Nicaraguan government had their soldiers killing the natives around that big lake in the middle of the country. And so the translators, which is another Wilhelm Reich technology, deployed on that area, and they hit the area where the soldiers were. They were gone inside of 5 minutes. They ran, and they won't come back. And so we know that we can stop every war on the planet if we have the money, and we need more equipment, more people involved. We could stop all 22 wars going on in this planet, including Ukraine. And the U.S. government has known this about Reich's technology since Reich was alive. That orgone technology back then would stop all wars, and the wars would be reduced to sticks and stones. Because you can't, cause if you eliminate duality, then you don't have polarity, and then you don't have explosions, so you don't have guns or anything like that going on. It's not possible. In a heavy 2D field. They've known it for a long time.
That was a deep statement right there.
Yeah, just another thing that they keep from us.
Wow. Incredible. Your breadth of knowledge is unbelievable.
It's
So how long?
It's all known. It's all very straightforward.
So you gain this insight through academia education, or is this self-taught, you doing this on your own?
Yeah, well, I graduated in engineering from Montana State University, and the curriculum back in those days, included the entire physics and math. So basically, I have 3 degrees: engineering, physics, and math. And so that provided the basis. And since then, I've read a lot of spiritual books. I started with Seth Speaks, and then graduated to all kinds. I've read so many books I can't even begin to tell you. And one of my favorite books is The Secret Life of Plants by Christopher Bird and Peter Duncans. A really important book. But the best book, spiritual book, is Robert Monroe's Far Journey. That right there is the best spiritual book ever written by man.
Did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Well, repeat the name of that book and the author.
Robert Monroe, Far Journeys.
Borrowed Journeys.
Far, 3 letters, FAR, Journeys.
All right. Do you have any other questions, Jeff?
I don't know if you want to keep going here with my Merlin, and
That's up to you.
I mean, he
I
could
know
go. This subject is
I
a deep subject, and he could go on and on and on. I don't know when you want to draw the line here.
Well, he's
questions?
in the UK.
I could do questions all day. I just, I don't want to
Yeah.
eat up the whole show on one
Right.
question here.
Yeah. Well, he's in the UK. I don't know what time it is over there.
Late.
Yeah, I know it is. So, Merlin, you want to wrap it up for this show? And
Yeah.
The most important thing to get out to the people is bubble tech. Bubble tech. Well, like I said earlier, we've already changed the entire multiverse and the human genome. It's really quite amazing, but it's verifiable. That bubble tech and the translators, we now have miracles occurring before we actually do our intention. Or, like in the case of the translators, they have to deploy their devices, but they don't even get their devices deployed, and the miracle has already occurred. Okay, which means that it's done in 2D outside of 3D time, which means that you've changed the entire 3D multiverse. Because the miracle changes matter. And the matter is made out of our intentions, as is irrefutable, because if our intentions can change it at big distances, which we do, as for years and years and years and years we've been doing this. If our intentions change matter at great distances, then it was our intentions that made the matter in the first place. Period.
wow.
And so now, because we're getting them to happen outside of time, before we actually do the intention, it happens, a miracle happens. Then it is that the gap herself knows what our intention is. Herself then makes it happen for us. It's not her idea. We're the primary creators. It's our idea. She just uses it and makes it happen.
Wow.
And so
Can we do a show?
We are the primary.
Can we show what, Floyd?
Can we do just a one show on bubble tech?
It would take a whole show.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want to profile bubble tech, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, "What's bubble tech? What's bubble tech?" So yeah, let's get that scheduled and get Merlin access to the stream so we can bring him on. If there's anything that we need to show as far as images or documentation or testimonials, anything like that, he can forward to me. I can show him. You can forward him. You can show him, or if he can show him, if we still have to do the cell phone connection.
Okay.
Jeff, I've sent you the disclosure, bubble tech disclosure.
Right.
Just send that to him and blow you away. Floyd
Okay.
will be completely blown away when you see that.
Okay.
So yeah, in there you sit and go, oh my God.
Okay.
It's off the scale. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, I've been thinking that for the last 50 minutes. I've just been real quiet about it. Merlin, thank you very much for coming on the show, sharing your experience, your knowledge, your research, and of course, your wisdom. And I really appreciate you being here. As again, you're welcome on the show anytime you want. Just get with Jeff and Jeff get with you, and we'll get you on here anytime.
Okay, guys. Thank you kindly.
Hey, Merlin, can Floyd have your email address so that he can mail you He can mail you links directly to you, and that way maybe you'll be able to sign on instead of me mailing you a link that he mailed to me. That maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
No, it just has to do with my equipment is old. You know, and this is the way we're, and I don't, you know, obviously I don't want to be seen, you know, my thing.
Yeah. No, that's fine. We can continue to do it like this. This is perfect. It's just when you have some information that would support your narrative, I would like to be able to present it to the audience to show them instead of having them just to hear your words.
The best thing for you to do is do it yourself.
Okay. All right. We'll do that.
And you know, and it's really, really easy. You can do it in about 15 minutes once you get the bits together, and the bits will cost you $40. You know.
Okay.
And you've got all that information. You know, Jeff can send it to you.
Okay. Got it. All right, Merlin. Hey, you have a good night. Sweet dreams. Thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Blessings. Bye, guys.
All right. Thank you, Merlin.
You're welcome.
All right. You got your flashlight on there, Jeffrey.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I'm to get the room to be the right. Anyway, I just sent it over to you right now.
Okay.
And so it's on the way, and Merlin's contact information is on there also.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hyperlink, that sort of thing. But are we still on live on the show?
Yeah, we're still rolling, and we have 2 minutes left. And I want to wrap this up for an hour. That way I will play this on my first hour Tuesday, and then I will come on with Noel at 2:00. So, as always, Jeff, do you have any closing statement?
I do. Please, notice to all bloggers, stop giving the answers to the bad guys. The 3 letters told me flat out that every time we come across real information, which is rare, we blab it out to all our people, and the bad guys hear it too, and it's hurting us all. So that's number 1. Number 2, go to geoengineeringwatch.org. Chemtrails. Look it up. Chemtrails killing you, me, lowering the oxygen content on the planet. We're eating aluminum. What are we running? Like we used to be 10,000 to 1 on autism, and now it's like 1 in 100 people are born with autism. I think it's worse than that too. But I mean, it's an epidemic, and it's caused by chemtrails in your food, in your water, in your lawn, on your car, on your face, now, every day. Geoengineeringwatch.org.
Absolutely. All right, Jeff. Thank you for joining the show. We will catch you again. We'll have you on sometime this week. So look forward to having you there.
Okay, I'll get with Merlin and find out what he wants to do a bubble tech show so you can advertise that.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Have a good night. All right, there you go. Jeff Rahm, Merlin, that just magician blew everybody's mind. Blew mine. I had a hard time keeping up with everything. I will dive in more to some bubble tech and get that for you guys. Again, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, leave a comment below. I am the Fearless Floyd Show across all social media platforms. You can reach me at thefearlessfloydshow@yahoo.com. Go to my store, thefearlessfloydshow.com, and get some merch. Thank you for being here. Bye.